Triple H wanted to get a wrestler fired. Is this tag team leaving WWE? Backlash to an AEW botch, and more. I'm Luke Owen and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
Get exclusive bonus videos over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk.
Before all that though, I've just got one question for you. Who let the dogs out? Who remembers that song? No one quite does wrestling merchandise like WWE, who will literally turn anything into merch for you suckers to spend your hard-earned money on. Case in point, WWEshop.com is selling plush toys, not of CM Punk, but CM Punk's dog Larry. Not only are WWE selling merchandise of a wrestler's pet, that merchandise is outselling some other wrestlers on the WWE roster. WrestleVotes are reporting that WWE are thrilled with how well the first run of Larry plushes have sold, and they expect to sell more when Punk makes his return to TV, noting the dog outdrew several current superstars as well as WWE legends. After this news came out, Punk took to Instagram to post a story of Larry posing next to lots of cash with the caption, "King." I'm sure he then told him to go off or something. Have you bought one of the Larry plushes from WWEshop.com? Let me know in the comments down below. Speaking of wrestlers and burying hatchets, the internet really has buried its hatchet with Triple H. Given how good the WWE product is at the moment and how much of that is down to Triple H's creative overhaul of the company in a post-Vince world, it's easy to forget that pre-Papa Trips of NXT, Triple H was one of the most hated wrestlers among the internet fan base. He was the ultimate politicker, giving Hulk Hogan a run for his money. His long-standing backstage feud with The Rock and reported jealousy over his popularity has been well documented. Ollie Davis did a big rundown of that on this very channel, and he's been accused of burying talent across his long career in WWE. There's a reason Cody Rhodes that one time brought out a golden shovel as a weapon. Much like that time he smashed that throne, it was a not so subtle knock at Triple H. As several wrestling historians and bookers have said about him in the past, Triple H was never the top guy, he was the guy who worked with the top guy. It's also worth remembering that he's the guy who came up with the idea of screwing Bret Hart at Survivor Series 1997. And speaking of Bret Hart, he recently told Rob Van Dam on his One of a Kind podcast that Triple H, along with his click buddy Shawn Michaels, tried to get a WWE star fired shortly after they arrived in the company. According to Bret, when Ken Shamrock joined the WWF in 1997, Michaels and Triple H took an instant dislike to him. Bret said it's funny when they signed him, Triple H and Shawn tried to get him fired, for no reason other than they didn't like him. Hart goes on to say that Vince had been told by some of the guys that Shamrock worked too stiff in the ring, but wouldn't expand upon that point any further. According to Bret, Vince asked him for his opinion, and Hart said they shouldn't fire Shamrock, which led to him being made the special guest referee for his iconic WrestleMania match with Steve Austin. It is probably worth noting that this is coming from Bret Hart, who is probably the chairman of the We Hate Triple H club, so maybe we should just take all of this with a pinch of bitter salt. But maybe there is a reason why Ken Shamrock never won the WWE Championship while HBK was on top. It's also not the first story where Triple H and HBK have reportedly tried to get in Vince's ear to fire wrestlers shortly after joining. Hilariously, the same thing reportedly happened with CM Punk. But that's all water under the bridge now. We all like Triple H now. After all, he's bringing in all of our favorite wrestlers from the mid-2000s and finally giving them their chance on the big WWE stage, like Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin of the Motor City Machine Guns. Shelley and Sabin made their WWE debut last month and quite quickly won the WWE Tag Team Championships. It has been pointed out online that the reactions they are getting from WWE crowds are muted to say the least, but the company clearly have a lot of faith in them to get over. It's no secret on this channel that they are among my favorite tag teams of all time. And it's not just me, Shelley and Sabin are probably your favorite tag team's favorite tag team. And according to WrestleVotes Radio, the pair have endeared themselves backstage in WWE and are very well liked. They add that Shelley and Sabin have been very approachable in their short tenure and are very communicative. This is why they're the best. They're not causing any dramas or any issues whatsoever. There's no backstage tensions in the SmackDown Tag Team division. Hang on, I've got this wrong. Or is there? There's been a lot of chatter about the Street Profits over the last few weeks, with Montez Ford in particular seemingly legit TO'd about the pair's lack of push since Triple H took over the creative reins of WWE, with some even tying it to the same frustrations that the Hurt Business have revealed they had since leaving WWE. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select reported earlier in the week that some of Ford and Angelo Dawkins' comments could just be storyline frustration, but there are those in WWE who aren't sure, and this could all be a shoot, brother. And now Dawkins has done another social post on Twitter promoting their tag match with the Motor City Machine Guns on tonight's SmackDown, saying, "We have to do it this time. There ain't no excuses, ain't nothing getting in our way, because to be real with you, I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off." Sorry, can anyone else smell that? Is it my coffee? No, it smells like a work, brother! But maybe not. SRS even inquired about the contract status of the Street Profits but could not get a concrete answer, noting that they both signed deals in 2019 but is not sure of how long those contracts were for. If they were a standard length, giggity, they would be 5 years, and that would be coming up soon. Or it's all a work, I don't know. What I do know is that we've got a stacked amount of video content coming your way this weekend. On Saturday, myself, Tempest, and Sullivan will have a parts fun known invasion here on WrestleTalk as we bring over our worst match ever series, seeing just how bad John Cena vs. John Laurinaitis really was. And then on Sunday, myself and Ollie Davis will be giving our predictions for this year's Survivor Series in 3 words or less / fewer in the latest episode of 3 Count. That's coming up this weekend on WrestleTalk, but already over on Cutscene, I take a deep dive into the history of Spider-Man 3 and the original death scene for Venom, with exclusive comments by the film's editor revealing what really happened on the Spider-Man 3 set, and also features a little cameo from Matt McMuscles. This week's AEW Dynamite took place in Bridgeport, Connecticut. But tell that to Swerve Strickland, who during a promo segment on the show said they were in Stamford, Connecticut. The online scuttlebutt is that he was not thinking about Scott Stamford, but instead the home base of WWE. This is like that one time that Ollie said a place in Canada was in the US because they have a similar name. The Bridgeport crowd booed babyface Swerve Strickland, and it led to the wrong kind of heat when the Hurt Syndicate beat him down, cheering the heels because they're beating up the guy who got their town name wrong. Wrestling is weird, ain't it? According to Brian Alvarez, who did say that the gaffe was a poor mistake to be made given that he is one of the company's top baby faces, but there could be a reason why he might have gotten the name wrong. Alvarez said, "I will say this to defend Swerve Strickland, the hotel that the wrestlers were booked to stay in was in Stamford. It wasn't like he thought he was in WWE. What do you think? Do you think that's a plausible excuse? Let me know in the comments down below. And there might be a new signing joining the ranks of AEW to see mistakes like that in first person. On the Wednesday edition of the WrestleTalk News, I talked about an update from Fightful Select about the contract status of Speedball Mike Bailey. There had been some online speculation and reports that Bailey was done with TNA and would be heading to All Elite Wrestling. Sean Ross Sapp, however, noted that Bailey was still under contract with TNA. But what a difference 48 hours can make. Because in an update to the update, it would appear that Mike Bailey is done with TNA, with his contract expiring on November 1st. PW Insider also report that same date. SRS adds in his report that Bailey gave his goodbyes to the TNA locker room in Detroit and is expected to be All Elite Wrestling bound. His profile on the TNA website has since been removed. Speedball recently lost his X Division Championship to Moose in a decision that many TNA fans found odd, but that was reportedly done because Bailey himself was done with the company. For those asking if he could be WWE bound instead of AEW, one TNA source told Fightful Select they wouldn't have needed to write Bailey off TNA TV if he were headed to NXT or WWE due to their current partnership. In some other good news for AEW, with NXT not running against them this week, their ratings were up, because if you're 555, then AEW drew 600,000 viewers. Not only were they up, it's the highest ratings for the show since the start of October. The show finished 5th on cable, only being beaten by Sports and News, and its .22 in the 18 to 49 demo is the best number the company has had since September. As mentioned earlier, my latest episode of Cutscene is out now, with a look at the making of Spider-Man 3 with exclusive comments from the film's editor. Not only that, but if you head on over to patreon.com/cutscene, there's a 5-hour review of the movie done by myself and Ollie Davis. Here's a clip to get you ready. The making of Spider-Man 3 in of itself is fascinating. At one point it was split into 2 parts, at another point had a different villain lineup, and it was supposed to set up a 4th outing for Raimi as director and Tobey Maguire as the friendly neighborhood web-slinger. But it would end up being the end of the road for Raimi and the final outing as the character for Tobey Maguire until the MCU multiverse experiment.
They love me.
Spider-Man 3 saw a creative war between Raimi and producer Avi Arad, and most of that frustration came over the inclusion of one of Spider-Man's most iconic villains, Venom. One party wanted it, and the other one didn't. In the end, the party that wanted it got their way because they felt that fans wanted to see Venom more than any other classic Spider-Man rogue, but the party that didn't want it, by his own admittance, did not give the character his all. And because of that, those fans that wanted to see Venom on the big screen left dissatisfied with the character's portrayal.
Hey, Parker.